Hi, it's William Tyndall here from Barfoot and Thompson Pukekohe. Gives me great pleasure today to introduce you all to David Johnstone, our auctioneer, and just to go through a few points that I'm sure that you're all keen to know about bidding at an auction and what an auction's all about. So I'll start off. Thank you for coming, David.
No problem, William.
Appreciate that. Now, first question: if I have conditions, for example, finance or a property to sell, am I still able to bid at auction?
An auction's an unconditional cash offer, so really you need to be prepared through your bank or your broker. Certainly get advice on what position you're in. So finance, for example, should be organised in place before bidding at auction. If you have a property for sale, certainly you need to be in a position where you know that property is either unconditional at that point or very close to it to take those sort of risks if you are bidding before your own home is sold.
Okay. What do I need to do to prepare for the auction?
Again, you need to make sure the finance is in place. You need to check things like settlement dates to make sure that they're going to fit in with your plans. You need to speak to your broker. You need to speak to your lawyer just to make sure that if there's any questions in regards to the contract or the property, you've got all that organised before bidding at auction as well.
Okay. Can the settlement date and the deposit be changed from the terms and conditions of sale?
Yeah, good question. They can be varied. We have a form called a variation of agreement. Now, if there's a date on the contract that may say the 25th August, for example, you may think, well, I might like to settle it earlier or later. You can do that and organise that prior to bidding. So in other words, we would go back to the owner and see whether your date worked for the selling party as well. And potentially the deposit can be varied as well. These decisions will be made once the owner has a look at the offer you make, again prior to auction, and again whether that suits their circumstances. But certainly things can be varied by mutual agreement of both parties.
Okay. What is a pre-auction offer?
A scenario that you may see a property that you really love, the auction date may be 3 weeks away, but you may choose to try and buy the property prior. So you can put an offer in writing. The offer still needs to be a cash, unconditional offer accompanied with a deposit. We would then present that to the owner. Now, the circumstances with that, if the owner chooses to accept your offer, the auction is still brought forward, usually within 2 working days of the offer being presented, and your offer would become the opening bid and the reserve at the auction. So the auction isn't avoided, it's brought forward, and everyone else still gets another chance to participate if they wish. And of course, if there are no other further bids or you do end up being the top bidder at the auction, then the property will be sold to you unconditionally.
Okay. So we're on the night of the auction. How do I prepare myself for the event?
You just need to make sure that you've got an idea of how an auction runs. Bidding is important. You really should be showing confidence with your bidding at the auction. And of course, often having a look at another auction maybe a week or 2 before will give you a good idea of how the auction actually functions and works. And then you should seek some advice maybe on tactics of bidding. Again, just making sure that you are organised and in place and ready to go.
What happens if I'm the successful bidder?
On the fall of the hammer, you are required to sign the contract. That's the first thing you need to do. And obviously the deposit needs to be submitted at that point as well. So that's fairly much how the process works once you've purchased. And of course, the balance of the transaction will take place on the settlement date. So that's simple and straightforward as well. And again, if you wish to vary the dates, that can be done between the lawyers. But of course, you will have a specific date on the contract for settlement and possession taking place.
Lovely. Look, thanks for that. There's been some really good points you've made there and answered some good questions. But look, if you've got any more questions, please give me a call. You'll get me on my mobile 027 295 6356. And I wish you all the best at the next auction you're successful at. Thank you.